Tired of listening to the same old playlists or podcasts over and over and over? Maybe it's time to mix things up. Try something new. Hit explore. Avoid the blah and the boring. Before you've even put your headphones or earbuds in, say goodbye to the blah and boring. Add some fun in the mix. You'll be listening to the good stuff soon enough. Say yabba dabba doo to a bowl of Pebbles cereal and enjoy by the spoonful. Fruity and cocoa Pebbles cereal. Less blah, more yabba dabba doo. Head to your nearest grocery store to buy Pebbles cereal today. The Flintstones and all related characters and elements, copyright and trademark Hanna-Barbera.
This is a Bramble Jam podcast.
Welcome to Girls Gone Hallmark, a Hallmark review podcast. I'm Megan, and I'm a longtime Hallmark fan.
I'm Wendy. I'm a former Hallmark hater.
Today we're discussing Return to Office, which originally premiered on the Hallmark Channel on Saturday, February 15th, and is currently streaming on Hallmark Plus. Come follow us on Instagram. It's the best place to keep up with what's going on with us. We are Girls Gone Hallmark.
Yeah, we have a Facebook group too. If you'd like to join, we'd love to have you. Girls Gone Hallmark on Facebook. I'm gonna leave a link in our show notes as well.
The very best way to support this podcast, and it's something that you guys are getting really good at, is by rating it and leaving reviews on podcast platforms. And we want to share one. Wendy, I don't believe you've heard or read this one yet.
Okay.
It's going to make your whole day.
I hope.
The title is The Office Ladies of Hallmark. I love these ladies and their podcast so much. I've been a huge Office Ladies fan since the beginning, and Megan and Wendy give such a similar vibe. You should see Wendy's face right now.
I don't know what Office Ladies is.
It's like, you know.
Like the actual ladies from the show The Office, their podcast?
Yes.
Oh, that's exciting.
They're so fun and funny together. I discovered this show during the Christmas season of 2023, and until recently thought of it only as a Christmas show. But their Hallmark content year-round has made me a bigger Hallmark fan, and I even started watching and fell in love with The Way Home because of their recap and mailbag episodes.
Sweet.
My only wish is that the episodes were a little longer. Don't be afraid to go on a tangent now and then, girls. Highly recommend this show for any Hallmark fan.
That's lovely. Thank you.
Isn't
A
that
tangent.
nice?
I'm like, sometimes I have to look and I see, oh, this episode's 40 minutes. We must have gone on a tangent.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes. But hey, if you like us and our tangents, I would suggest checking out our Patreon.
Patreon.com/Megan and Wendy. And in the most recent episode, we did drop a sampling of an AI jingle.
Which I got a text about this morning.
Oh, did you?
Yes, from listener Jackie, who said, the jingle is amazing. I'm going to be humming it all day.
Well, you are not a Patreon subscriber, so you don't know this, but I put a second jingle version at like the closing of the show.
Oh, maybe that's the one she's referring to.
I doubt it. I doubt people are still listening at that point. There was no way to know unless you were paying attention.
Oh.
But because I didn't have access to the one that you played on the show, so I
That's right.
downloaded my own version.
I got to hear it.
At the end of that Patreon episode, we'd love to have you over there as listeners.
For sure.
We had an email last week from Jennifer, and we shared part of her email in our mailbag episode, but she had an additional comment that we saved for this episode. I'm just going to read her comments. It says, this is not episode specific, but how do we feel about the diversity this season? So she's specifically here talking about The Way Home. I'm pretty sure Alice and Noah are the only two non-white characters we've seen regularly this season, and most of Noah's scenes are with Alice. We've seen Monica only once or twice this season, and not even a mention of her son, Spencer. Where are you at? While it may have been a little forced to have Brady there last week, though last season made clear Del still thinks of him as family, in the first two seasons he visited a lot, or Alice was doing FaceTime calls with him, and we have not gotten young Brady this season. We have also not seen or heard about Nick's mom, and Casey has only barely just been seen in this most recent episode. Although I think we're going to get more Casey. In each case, I get why it does not necessarily make sense to have the character around more, but because we have a very white 70s and 1800s compared to 1999 when they were in big groups, it seems very noticeable. In addition to some of the trends we've seen during Christmas, and now Black History Month without any Black leads in the movies, it just makes me sad and nervous about the future of Hallmark. I think That's super valid. I think you said it really well.
I think she did say it really well. I'm curious to know your thoughts. I have some as well. And I would like to say, if you don't want to hear Megan and Wendy Gone Woke, you might want to tap through to our review of
Straight to news and notes.
Return to Office. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been here for a minute, I think you know where we're going to land on this. We are in favor of diversity on Hallmark. And I think it was pretty glaring during the countdown to Christmas season. Where did the Mahogany movies go? We didn't have a lead LGBTQ character on linear, only on Hallmark Plus. These are glaring exclusions to me. Mm-hmm. You know, Hallmark's, there's a lot to be celebrated, but I just sometimes wonder if they're spinning too many plates.
Well, I think that was definitely apparent during the holiday season.
Cruise, Kansas City, Countdown to Christmas, Hallmark Plus. Yeah, something's going to get dropped.
Too many things, but here are my thoughts. We started reviewing 2020-ish, right?
Yeah.
And then Hallmark went in through some big like leadership changes during that time.
Yeah.
And they hired Wanya Lucas.
Yes.
She's the one who launched Mahogany. Is that correct? From my understanding.
Well, it was launched under her leadership, at least.
Under her leadership. And then she departed, and we had another CEO come in.
Lisa Hamilton Daly just left.
She was not CEO. Is that correct?
I think she was an EVP.
Okay, so I think the pinpoint needs to go towards her leadership. Like that's where we saw like a decline in a lot of the DEI stuff.
Yeah, and if DEI makes you cringe, it shouldn't. Like we're telling you like we want to be inclusive, and if your first reaction is to feel like I don't want inclusive programming, I mean nothing we're going to say here obviously is going to change your mind. Mm-hmm. But I think the reality is when it comes to diversity, when it comes to inclusion, when it comes to programming that reflects the people who watch it and the people they want to watch it, it does need to be intentional sometimes. Mm-hmm. And you cannot just sit back and hope that you accidentally stumble across a perfect mix of diversity amongst your actors and that you are intentional about having storylines that are inclusive and that your crew and your directors aren't just a slew of white men. And to be super clear, there's a lot of white dudes on Hallmark who we're big fans of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But there's room. Like we've had this conversation a million times. Like, oh, we love Linda Coe, but you know, she plays the Asian American mom in every movie. There needs to be more of her.
Yes.
We love Barbara Niven, but we can't just have one woman of a certain age on the network.
Yes.
So I don't have an answer, but it is noticed by us.
It is noticed too. I think maybe the answer is if it's noticeable to you and it bothers you, I think you should be vocal on social media specific to Hallmark. Slide into their DMs, write them an email. Like we know who the new CEO is. And I think I have high hopes
that we'll see a change in a positive direction.
We'll see a change in a positive direction. I have high hopes just based on his Instagram alone. Mm-hmm. But be a voice. Tell them that this is what's missing. Mm-hmm. I'm real torn up about it.
Mm-hmm. I hate to make a sharp right turn because there's no great transition here.
Yeah.
But we are going to hear a synopsis for Return to Office.
Let's just go right in. Kind of surprised Linda Coe was not in this movie. Hey, after making the return to the office on a hybrid schedule, two coworkers known to each other only as Ms. Monday and Mr. Tuesday start sending friendly notes, sparking an office romance.
Janelle Parrish stars as Liv. Janelle is best known for her role as Mona Vanderwaal in the television series Pretty Little Liars. She recently starred in Hallmark smash hits Haunted Wedding and Sugar Plummed.
Scott Michael Foster stars as Tom with 41 acting credits. Scott is known for... Is he Scott Michael or Scott, do you think?
I don't know.
Well, Scott Michael Foster is known for his roles in Greek, My Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and Chasing Life. Foster's last appearance on Hallmark was in 2021 in Love for Real, a movie I remember liking. Megan has
no memory. Sarah Formosa plays Jackie. Sarah's no stranger to Hallmark, having appeared in movies like Happy Holidays and Tip Line Mysteries, Dial 1 for Murder. This project marks her 22nd acting credit.
Eric Gao plays Chad. Can I stop myself there? Who is Chad?
The Bobo Ericatavle.
HR guy.
Yeah.
You know what? While watching this movie, I was like, Eric would have been great in this role, but it was kind of a small role, and I want to see Eric in a bigger role.
Yeah, me too, but I have more to say.
Ooh, great. In addition to his extensive voice work, Eric Gao has portrayed Edwin Mitchell in nearly 20 episodes of When Calls the Heart. Return to Office marks his first Hallmark movie outside of the beloved series.
Christopher Shire plays Walter. We're seeing Christopher all over Hallmark these days in projects like Happy Holidays, Leah's Perfect Gift, and Three Wiser Men and a Boy, all from the 2024 holiday season. Christopher has a total of 98 acting credits, which include his role on season 1 of The Night Agent, where he plays a super bad dude. Spoiler alert, a non-Hallmark recommendation from Megan.
My husband says season 1 is real terrible, but season 2 is much better, acting-wise.
Well, I enjoy The Night Agent. I'm not sure I enjoy it for any technical reasons. I just find it super compelling to watch. I mean, there's bad things happening in the White House. People are on the run.
I don't know if I could watch that, considering...
They have a female president.
Cool.
And you're almost like, it could be worse. Could be worse.
Miranda McDougal plays Liv's bestie, Colette.
Was she her sister or her best friend?
You know, that is a good question. This movie marks Miranda's 7th acting credit and her first appearance on Hallmark. However, her resume includes Amish Stud, the Eli Weaver story, which stars Hallmark Wowie Zowie Luke McFarlane.
Dylan and Brandon McEwen play Kevin and Devin. Brandon has 11 acting credits, which include Hallmark movies like Retreat to You and Christmas Cookie Catastrophe. Dylan has 10 acting credits, which also include Christmas Cookie Catastrophe, as well as Tip Line Mysteries, Dial 1 for Murder.
I'm going to read my edition I have in here. Kevin Smith appears in a cameo role as Chef Anthony. Kevin is currently starring as Leland Coulter in When Calls the Heart.
The story and teleplay were written by Stephen J. Kung. This is Stephen's 5th writing project and first for Hallmark. His previous work includes the series Dear White People, Falling for Angels, and A Leading Man. McLean Nelson is also credited with the teleplay. McLean is a true multi-hyphenate writer, director, and producer who directed last summer's The Magic of Lemon Drops. This marks his 9th writing credit and his first since the Heidelberg Holiday in 2023.
The movie was directed by Peter Benson. Peter is a seasoned director with Return to Office marking his 22nd directorial project. In 2024 alone, he directed 5 films, including fan favorites like Blind Date Book Club and Leah's Perfect Gift.
Let's take a quick break for some ads and come right back with First Impressions.
Tired of listening to the same old playlists or podcasts over and over and over? Maybe it's time to mix things up. Try something new. Hit Explore. Avoid the blah and the boring. Before you've even put your headphones or earbuds in, say goodbye to the blah and boring. Add some fun in the mix. You'll be listening to the good stuff soon enough. Say yappa dabba doo to a bowl of Pebbles cereal and enjoy by the spoonful. Fruity and cocoa Pebbles cereal. Less blah, more yappa dabba doo. Head to your nearest grocery store to buy Pebbles cereal today. The Flintstones and all related characters and elements, copyright and trademark Hanna-Barbera.
If your small business has a problem, you could say,
Ugh, just my luck.
but you should say,
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
and we'll help get you back in business. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey, Wendy, what's your first impression of Return to Office?
There are a few on this list, but the character of Walter is one of those guys I want to punch in the face if I saw him in real life.
Like Sam Bishop in episode 7 of The Way Home. Ugh.
This guy.
He's the worst. He's
bad.
the true, you need the worst gif, the new girl. The worst.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
I do know what you're talking about. What's your first impression?
I fear I am the framing in Mama Judy's quilting analogy.
Oh, to whom? Me?
No.
Are you the frame and I'm the creative?
How sad. That is not where I was going. In my home life, I am the person who keeps the trains on the track,
Aren't we all?
gets things done, Do I get any credit for being the fun magic maker?
Mom,
no.
stand up. We see you.
The other day, my husband gets the school emails and he was reading through and he had like a little sticky note and it was like AP test registration. He was like, oh, we need to do that. I was like, I did in October of 2024.
You're like on top of it.
He's like, oh yeah, and grad night tickets are out. I was like, also purchase those in the previous calendar year, bruh. These are just things that run in the background. Like they come in and I do them. And
Yeah.
so yes, I am the frame.
You're seen.
Tangent achieved.
Yes. Let's talk about what we liked about Return to Office.
Long list.
Oh, go ahead.
Let's start with, first of all, love the story idea. It's a play on several stories that I enjoy. Like there's elements of You've Got Mail. There's elements of the book The Flat Share, which I really enjoyed, which they did turn into a TV series, but I'm not sure it was ever. I've tried to find it several times and it just says not available in your area.
That's weird.
It's like it was available in the UK, I believe. And I think the content here is super relevant. We're talking about like working from home, transitioning back into the office, hybrid work schedules, AI takeover, all real relevant and current. Really enjoyed that.
I like that too. Let me piggyback on the story. I gotta say, like, I was initially bothered. Like, I was like, this is gonna be exactly like that book, The Flat Share, but the exchanging of the Post-it notes, because that's what that book is all about. I was happy that that kind of remedied pretty quickly. And then they transitioned to like talking on the app, which feels very relevant to 2025 and how singles like meet each other before actually meeting in real life. Not that I would know because I've been married 100 years, but from what I see on
From what we
TV.
hear.
So that didn't bother me. And then when I was like putting my notes together and everybody's like, oh, this is just like You've Got Mail. And this is just like about, like, I was like, was it though? Because yes, it falls into the trope of like, we're secret pen pals or whatever. And then like, there's this revelation, like they meet each other, right? Same thing, same plot points, right?
Yes. But I think the way it mirrors You've Got Mail is that they meet each other and develop a real life relationship alongside their secret relationship. And there's a period in which neither of them knows who it is.
Right.
And then there's a period in which one of them knows
Just
who
like
it
this
is.
movie.
Yes.
So I always get a little bit, look, I'm not saying I like this movie, but what I don't like is when a Hallmark movie mirrors too much of a big budget movie that I've seen in the past.
Yeah, but You've Got Mail is a total remake of a different movie.
No, I know that, but I just don't like it.
Okay.
I want Hallmark to take original swings. This is not an original swing.
Okay. That's a perfectly valid opinion. The fact that we don't share it doesn't make it less valid.
Okay. But with that said, I did think this script had a lot of really funny lines, like great contemporary references, including the mention of the band Rush, which is not super contemporary, but like was funny. Like BTW, I hate the band Rush. So like, I think that's why it like stood out to me. I was like, oh, this guy looks Rush. Anyway, funny one-liners like don't put all your eggs in Monday's basket. I thought was very funny. And of course, like, am I the last person to the Bach party, which I thought was very funny. And I have a Bach story real quick.
Okay.
Janelle Parrish's character Liv likes Baroque music, right? And when I was a new college student, I was taking some sort of like intro to college, like how to be successful in college class. And the teacher was like, oh, turn on Baroque music or buy Baroque music or whatever. And the student in front of me turns around and goes, I'm going Baroque with all these suggestions. To which I cracked up and then got in trouble in class because I was laughing so hard at this stupid Baroque joke. So every time I hear the word Baroque, I think about that one girl. I'm going Baroque. It was funny.
It is funny.
I thought it was funny.
Especially because
Anyway.
there were no free streaming services
Right.
at the time.
Yeah, you would have to gone out to some CD store, Tower Records. I don't know.
The
whatever.
warehouse.
I mean, Amazon wasn't even like available yet.
No,
to
it was
purchase.
Napster around? Could you
No.
pirate that?
No, not even then. We're talking early 90s. Yeah. None of that stuff existed. Like I would have had to hunt down some some CD.
A cassette tape.
Maybe a cassette tape. Yeah. Anyway, so funny dialogue. I enjoyed that. What I really liked is that the inclusion of aging parents.
Oh.
I thought it was nicely integrated into the storyline. There you have this guy with his aging mom, and they have this nice relationship. I really enjoyed that. Now, hear me out. Here's my crazy idea. We need more Judy and her
Oh, I love
retirement
Judy and
friend.
Lois.
Lois, that's her name. Put them in a movie where they're like stirring up trouble at the retirement home. I think it would be so funny.
Yeah, I really enjoyed them. My thought was like, they're so young to be living in this retirement home.
Agree.
Although there are like retirement communities. Like I envision these ladies having like their own apartment and then they come together for like social stuff. It just seemed like the kind of place that perhaps they shouldn't be living. You know what I mean? Like they didn't seem quite there yet.
They were too young for.
Yeah, like they needed a retirement community. You know what I mean? Like it's not like a home.
Yes, I hear you. But they were in a old folks home. That's what they called it.
Yeah.
Which I always feel weird about that. I don't like that term, old folks home.
No. Agree. I agree. I loved Mama Judy and Lois. They're a great supporting character duo, and I really loved when Judy found her friend in Lois at Xanadu because she was so shy and nervous about being there. It was great. But what I really love about Judy is when she reads Tom the Riot Act about giving Liv some grace about her actions at work.
Yeah.
And as mentioned in my first impression, I love her analogy about some people being the frame and some people being the beautiful handiwork that gets all of the praise. Go, Judy. Mm-hmm. Another thing I loved is we've been having a ton of conversations here about how we prefer to see relationships develop in these movies and how we're not fans of the enemies to lovers trope.
Yes.
And I think this movie is a really great example of how to touch on that in a movie of this length. They had something to work with. They weren't immediately best friends. There was a little bit of back and forth and growing pains and compromise, but they were both likable people who were pretty self-aware and they were able to communicate. And so we kind of got over that really quickly.
I agree.
Like when she finds his ham sandwich and he was like, Tom, be better, man. Like, perfect. Mm-hmm. I was a jerk. I'm going to fix it. Mm-hmm. As mentioned, Kevin Smith does make a cameo, and I liked that scene. We have the comic relief with Chad bumbling around in the kitchen. Wendy didn't love it. Too hijinksy, I can tell.
I just didn't know if Chad was necessary. Like, that doesn't make sense that Chad would be at that cooking lesson.
So to me, that spoke to the fact that Tom is a total doofus who never once, and it's in my wishes, but let's talk about it now, thought, maybe it's Liv. There aren't 1 million people that work here. I immediately know it's not half of the people that work in my office. Why am I not looking around at like the other young eligible women to figure out who it never occurred to him?
Yeah.
Because I think the line, I feel like Bruce Willis in The Sixth Sense, how did I not figure it out, is great. But my notes say, how indeed, Tom? Not once did you go, maybe it's her.
Yeah, you're right. I was leaning into like, wow, they're communicating in real life of the same as they were communicating like via text.
Same energy.
Same energy. Wouldn't you be like, that seems a little like similar?
Yes. This is why you want to be like, you're such a bozo, because the pool of people it could be is so small. Mm-hmm. It's half of the people that work in your office.
Yeah.
So when you go in for the team building day, or when you go in, when like the whole office is there on like that all hands meeting day, why are you not like looking around? Who could it be?
Yeah, he's standing right next to her.
It's not Kevin and Devin. She goes, is this your desk? He goes, yep. Not, where's yours?
Yeah.
It's like he didn't want to know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, fair.
We did veering to our wishes, but I have one final like, and that is I was so inspired by Liv that I did listen to a Baroque playlist while I was working yesterday.
Did you?
And I gotta say, I'm into it. I'm gonna do it again.
Look at you. You won't go Baroque either if you can get it free on Spotify. I have a couple more likes. The AI storyline, you touched on it a little bit earlier. Man, is that relevant and timely. Mm-hmm. And when Walter suggests that he's going to replace all of his artists with AI, I was just like, what a gut punch. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm not anti-AI either.
No, I mean, we joke around about it here and we made that like AI jingle, but the reality is like there are certain things that are diminished that need
A human touch.
exactly.
Yeah. Scott Michael Foster, you watched the show Greek.
Oh, I have a story to tell you, but yes, tell me.
Now, in this movie, I was like, whoa, he's really matured out of this like college bro that I place
Yeah.
him in.
Yeah.
When I
Yeah.
heard he was in it, I was like, okay, that's what we're gonna get. But I found him very kind of grown up in this role, and I really liked it. I would definitely like to see more of him on Hallmark. For having been in a movie like 3 years ago, like he can
Ramp it up.
ramp it up. On the flip side, Janelle Parrish, pro, love her, have nothing negative to say about her, with the exception that we've had 3 Janelle Parrish movies since October.
Yeah, is she the new queen of Hallmark?
Kind of a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. I'm not oversaturated. You know, sometimes like, who knows the order in which these things
Sure.
get made.
Yeah. Like maybe this wasn't supposed to be a February movie, and then it did. It ended up being a February movie.
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? This is no shade to Janelle Parrish. I enjoy her.
She's great.
I love her. And as Liv and Tom, their characters, I loved them together. I thought they were naturally flirty. Again, there was not this like drawn out enemies to lovers trope. A+ for them. Finally, what I really loved was the ending, and it was the big buildup to reveal who she was. Look, I have some wishes about the Easter eggs dropped along the way and the opportunities where she could have said, yo, it's me.
Totally.
But I did love the whole, like, he's walking into the restaurant and like following the notes. I just thought that was really cute. And I liked how they ended. Like they were
I
going to
thought it
go
was
on and
cute too.
do their own business and whatever. So good ending. Super cute.
It's funny that you mentioned Scott Michael Foster's role on Greek, which is a show that I loved. I loved that show. That show also starred Jake McDorman. Jake McDorman is my friend Amanda's brother.
Okay.
And Mandy was in my wedding. We worked together. And when my husband saw part of this movie, he was like, hey, is that your friend's brother? And it was just funny that he like conflated, like they're both on the same show. I'm like, that's a deep cut. I'm surprised because that show is 15 years old at least, if not 20.
Yeah.
I mean, it was on ABC Family,
I
which is a
know.
network that doesn't exist anymore.
But this is my always my frame of reference. Was your oldest son born?
That's what I'm trying. I can envision watching the show in our old house. It was funny to me that throwback role
Totally.
conflated those two. I was like, no, it's not. But that's funny that you say that.
Yeah.
Let's talk wishes.
Okay.
I have absolutely no idea what Omega Tech does. None. Literally no idea. They acquire other tech companies.
That's a good question because I was confused about that as well. And then at the end, he was talking about how he had built this like huge social platform. So I was
Well,
like,
Artist Access is the only social media network where artists find work. So I don't know how Artist Access works, but I do know that that's what they do. Like it's a social media. So maybe artists like post their work, you know, like I'm a graphic designer. Here's what I do. Come find me. That sort of thing. Like I'm a sculptor. Commission me. I don't know that there's any actual need for any of that shit,
right.
but that's what they do. But I don't know what Walter's company does.
So maybe like Walter's company is kind of like Meta, and Meta owns like Facebook and Instagram.
Maybe.
And is that it? If there's anything else, right? Like these social media branches.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Good question. Did you think this movie was a little bit slow?
No.
Not at all?
Mm-mm.
Okay. For me, a little bit slow through like the middle part. I don't know what the acts are called. Is there 9 acts in a Hallmark movie?
I believe so.
So maybe like the 3rd and 4th, 5th act, a little slow for me.
Okay.
Okay, whatever.
Well, I think it's fair because forgive our ignorance. If Act 1 is what occurs up until the first commercial break, a lot happens. And especially because we have all those like rapid fire transitions as they're passing the notes back and forth. And then it does settle in a little bit and builds a relationship. So the pace does change. I hear you. As mentioned, I needed Tom to get there faster, specifically like when she's at the office for their pitch and she's like lobbing him softball after softball. And he never once looks at her suspiciously like, Ari Misma, never once. Can't let it go. I love Judy's defense of Liv, and I think it's warranted. However, I did think Liv folded a little bit easily under Walter's criticism of Tom's logo. She was just like, okay. Now, I get it. He's the boss. What he says goes. But I also understood Tom's frustration in that moment.
Well, of course, because when they had their like date that wasn't a date,
Yeah.
he tells her, like he criticizes her basically about like, oh,
You're a yes man.
you're a yes man, which very hurtful. And I thought that scene was really good because I thought Janelle Parrish was like, it was written all over her face that she was like so hurt by it. But then I was confused because a little bit later on, she's like, oh, I need to make it up to him or something. He owed her an apology, which he does come around and apologize for it, which, okay, good. But is it Liv's fault that Walter did not like Tom's design?
No, it isn't Liv's fault.
She's not going to change Walter's mind.
No. And she knows that. Like, she has the benefit of her history with him, knowing like Walter does Walter.
Yes.
Yeah. Finally, it's unclear to me why she was so weird about the date at Enclave. I don't understand why she showed up late, pretended not to be Ms. Monday, goes in the bathroom, cancels their date, and then she's like, okay, I'm going to go do the thing, and then goes out. Now, I understand why she doesn't tell him because he starts like calling her out and she's like, I'm not going to tell you like I'm the girl you like now. But I didn't understand all of that. Like when she showed, why was there all that weird subterfuge?
Why don't you just have a reveal when you walk in and be like, guess what? It's me.
Yeah. You're waiting for someone. Sorry, I'm late.
Yeah. I also think it was a little unfair that she had this information, like she knew who he was. I think she held on to that information too long. I am happy it did not like then fall into now I can't trust you because
Yes.
you knew all this.
Like Holiday Hotline.
Yeah. So I'm glad it didn't do that. It didn't build enough tension though for me with her knowing and him not knowing. I was almost like frustrated. Like, Tom, don't, like you said, he was such a bozo. Like, have some self-awareness.
The clues were right in front of your face.
Right in front of.
Yes.
And there was this scene where they were at the cooking lesson and they're like so face to face. And like, I'm like, here is your opportunity right now to be like, I have something to tell you. Because obviously you're vibing. Right?
And he's so clueless.
Yeah. And he's like,
Oh, just call him Mr. Tuesday. The end.
exactly. Exactly.
Are you ready for Did to see that?
I am.
Number one, that balloon game is an HR violation waiting to happen.
I actually thought that was a really fun game.
I think so too, but not with your coworker as you're pressing your bodies together to keep the balloon balanced between you.
I know. I was trying to think, I'm like, what's the alternative? Like, you know, where you do the neck thing with the orange? Like,
Not that.
no, but I've never seen like pressing a balloon towards each other. The two twin brothers did it. Their bodies were not connected. They were like forehead to forehead on the balloon.
Yeah, but the two twin brothers are the only pairing for which it's not odd.
I know. So maybe I hear what you're saying. I wouldn't want to be like body to body with some.
With a coworker,
Nah.
even one that I have like a weird potential attraction to.
Yeah, no.
Perhaps especially one that I have a weird
Yeah,
potential. No. And they like did it in like a dance pose. I'm like, that's actually clever how they like kept their bodies together like
Yeah.
that. But that's all.
I hear you. Can I this was on my Did You See It? But I took it off because I was like, nobody saw it except for me. But now here I'm going to share it. One of the challenges they had to do, they had to like, I don't know, step over or step onto something. And they were clearly like aerobic steps.
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking about?
100%.
I was like, where do you get those these days? Well, I miss step aerobics. I loved step aerobics.
Me too. I remember the name of my college step aerobics teacher, not professor. Like we would go. I was actually thinking about this the other day because freshman year we would go to take a step aerobics class taught by like another student. And I was like, did we pay for that? I don't think we did. I'm sure they paid her to do it. I actually had a lot of thoughts about the logistics of the games. Like they had those light up, you know, when they're playing the trivia game and they had to ring in. And I was like, I wonder if there are companies that are like, we'll bring in all the supplies for you to run these team building activities,
I'm
including like
sure.
these game show stands and all of that.
Yeah.
in the conference Zoom call early in the movie, there's a ton of people on that call. And I just am dying to know, this isn't really a did you see that, but more of like, tell me how it works. Were some of those people B-roll? Were some of those people like Hallmark staff? Because they got like their backgrounds blurred out. And at one point, like several people wave and like the people are just sitting there. And I was like, do you remember during COVID when they had basketball games that had like digital versions of fans
Yes, I do. Yes,
that
I
would like
do.
cheer, and then during downtime they would just kind of like be, I mean, baseball games had cutouts, but
What a
basketball games
world.
had digital people that
What
were
a world.
moving.
Yeah.
We're gonna tell our kids about this. My kids lived through it, but they don't remember, and they're gonna be like, what are you talking? There were cardboard cutouts of people at the woof. Anyway, that's what it reminded me of. I mentioned this already, but Chad, played by Eric Gao, does feel like the equivalent to Eric Atavale's character in Holiday Hotline, right down to the fact that both are played by Eric with a K. They both have a mustache. They just both felt like that chin on the hand, here to help you out. Eric Gao, I don't know you. I'm giving the W to Atavale in this one.
For not even being in the movie, you still get the W.
But the two characters, they're the same person.
It's because we're rooting for Erica Tevley. It's because we have a personal relationship.
100%. This is not an objective competition. Finally, I had to look it up. Bluetiful is a color in a box since 2017, according to Crayola.fandom.com. It is a unique blue that took the place of dandelion, which I actually think is a yellow, but it just took the place of the color in the box. It is available in 24 count and larger packs of color. It was a name suggested by a fan in a contest, and it was in fact based on the Yinmin blue pigment, which was accidentally created in 2009. The crayon contains no Yinmin blue chemical elements, but is intended to be the same color. And finally, if you order the 96 count box from Walmart, they have an exclusive edition which comes with 4 extra Bluetiful crayons, perfect for sharing with your friends.
Look at that. Not an ad.
Deep
Hashtag
dive.
not an ad.
Call us Crayola.
Does that box have the sharpener in it?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, God,
yes,
that's my favorite.
ma'am.
Man, you know how happy I would be if I got a box with a sharpener under the Christmas tree? Like, simple things.
You know, I already purchased most of my Easter basket gifts, and there is a coloring book and some fancy markers in that set that I cannot wait for.
Exciting.
They're alcohol markers, which don't leave like the line.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like as
Yeah,
you're
I
coloring
do.
over things.
I might need to steal that idea from you. And of course, you're not talking about for yourself. It's for our children, right?
No, it's for me.
You're making yourself your own Easter basket?
I order stuff and I'm like, here, put this in my Easter basket.
Oh, interesting. I thought you bought this for your kids.
No. My husband and I both order stuff for ourselves and then hand it over to the other person.
Oh,
And then
okay.
we'll fill it out. But
What's the coloring book of?
of course, I found it on TikTok. The woman who creates this, her name is Coco Wyo, W-Y-O. And she creates these like, they're called like cute and comfy coloring books. So she has like cozy corner, girl moments, stress relief. They're all real cute. I do believe she only sells them on Amazon because she uses like their print on demand system. She calls them big, bold, and easy coloring pages because a lot of like these adult coloring books have these
So
super
intricate.
intricate designs I'm not interested in. Like I want it to look like a child's coloring book, but with like cute, like the stress relief one. I don't know which one I bought, but this one has like coffee mugs and rain boots and bears and. Anyway, what are your did you see that's?
First one, bold type in my notes. Hair tuck.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
What?
I watched this movie twice.
It was the cooking scene after, like, when they were talking so closely face to face.
Tucks her hair.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hair tuck. The next thing is the charcuterie table that she puts together.
Yeah,
That is for 100 people.
I know.
I mean,
And he eats one cheese cube.
invite me. Like, I love a grazing table like that.
Sure.
Hell yeah. But that was a lot of work. Actually, I don't think she did it. I think she said that she had Chef Anthony do it just with all of Tom's favorite things. Anyway, it looked delicious. The last thing I have is also during the cooking lesson on the wall, there's these huge like wooden spoon and wooden fork hanging
Yeah.
on the wall. And they're hanging there with these huge command hooks. Huge.
That is funny.
And I'm such a stupid thing. Like, nobody saw it except for me. But I was like, couldn't they have, like, hid the command somehow?
Painted them the same color as the wall or something.
Yeah, something. Anyway, that's all.
Cool. What did you rate Return to Office?
I gave it 4 stars.
I gave it 4.25 stars. Thank you for listening to this episode of Girls Gone Hallmark, a Bramble Jam podcast. And if you do love this podcast, we do love your 5-star ratings and reviews. You might even hear one read on a future episode of the podcast. Thank you to Courtney for her review read earlier in today's episode. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
All right, friends, before we go, just a quick heads up. You're about to hear some ads. These little gems help us keep the show running and the Hallmark love flowing. So do with that info what you will. Grab a snack, hit the skip button, or maybe, just maybe, listen in and discover your new favorite product.
Tired of listening to the same old playlists or podcasts over and over and over? Maybe it's time to mix things up. Try something new. Hit explore. Avoid the blah and the boring. Before you've even put your headphones or earbuds in, say goodbye to the blah and boring. Add some fun in the mix. You'll be listening to the good stuff soon enough. Say yappa dabba doo to a bowl of Pebbles cereal and enjoy by the spoonful. Fruity and cocoa Pebbles cereal. Less blah, more yappa dabba doo. Head to your nearest grocery store to buy Pebbles cereal today. The Flintstones and all related characters and elements, copyright and trademark Hanna-Barbera.
If you went on a road trip and you didn't stop for a Big Mac or drop a crispy fry between the car seats or use your McDonald's bag as a placemat, then that wasn't a road trip. It was just a really long drive. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
At participating McDonald's.
Bye.
Tired of listening to the same old playlists or podcasts over and over and over? Maybe it's time to mix things up. Try something new. Hit explore. Avoid the blah and the boring. Before you've even put your headphones or earbuds in, say goodbye to the blah and boring. Add some fun in the mix. You'll be listening to the good stuff soon enough. Say yappa dabba doo to a bowl of Pebbles cereal and enjoy by the spoonful. Fruity and cocoa Pebbles cereal. Less blah, more yappa dabba doo. Head to your nearest grocery store to buy Pebbles cereal today. The Flintstones and all related characters and elements, copyright and trademark Hanna-Barbera.
Have you ever spotted McDonald's hot, crispy fries right as they're being scooped into the carton? And time just stands still. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Tired of listening to the same old playlists or podcasts over and over and over? Maybe it's time to mix things up. Try something new. Hit explore. Avoid the blah and the boring. Before you've even put your headphones or earbuds in, say goodbye to the blah and boring. Add some fun in the mix. You'll be listening to the good stuff soon enough. Say yappa dabba doo to a bowl of Pebbles cereal and enjoy by the spoonful. Fruity and cocoa Pebbles cereal. Less blah, more yappa dabba doo. Head to your nearest grocery store to buy Pebbles cereal today. The Flintstones and all related characters and elements, copyright and trademark Hanna-Barbera.
Have you ever spotted McDonald's hot, crispy fries right as they're being scooped into the carton? And time just stands still. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Tired of listening to the same old playlists or podcasts over and over and over? Maybe it's time to mix things up. Try something new. Hit explore. Avoid the blah and the boring. Before you've even put your headphones or earbuds in, say goodbye to the blah and boring. Add some fun in the mix. You'll be listening to the good stuff soon enough. Say yappa dabba doo to a bowl of Pebbles cereal and enjoy by the spoonful. Fruity and cocoa Pebbles cereal. Less blah, more yappa dabba doo. Head to your nearest grocery store to buy Pebbles cereal today. The Flintstones and all related characters and elements, copyright and trademark Hanna-Barbera.
Have you ever spotted McDonald's hot, crispy fries right as they're being scooped into the carton? And time just stands still. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Tired of listening to the same old playlists or podcasts over and over and over? Maybe it's time to mix things up. Try something new. Hit explore. Avoid the blah and the boring. Before you've even put your headphones or earbuds in, say goodbye to the blah and boring. Add some fun in the mix. You'll be listening to the good stuff soon enough. Say yappa dabba doo to a bowl of Pebbles cereal and enjoy by the spoonful. Fruity and cocoa Pebbles cereal. Less blah, more yappa dabba doo. Head to your nearest grocery store to buy Pebbles cereal today. The Flintstones and all related characters and elements, copyright and trademark Hanna-Barbera.
Optimize your nutrition with Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal service. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. Choose from 40 weekly options across 8 dietary preferences like Calorie Smart and Protein Plus. Factor's keto meals can help you lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks. Get started at factormeals.com/factor50off to get 50% off, plus free shipping on your first box. Weight loss with Factor Keto based on a randomized controlled clinical trial. Results will vary depending on diet and exercise.
If you went on a road trip and you didn't stop for a Big Mac or drop a crispy fry between the car seats or use your McDonald's bag as a placemat, then that wasn't a road trip. It was just a really long drive. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
At participating McDonald's.